Teeny tiny black holes capable of hollowing out entire planets might be tunneling through objects on Earth right at this moment. Could those earthly objects include your own body? Very likely. The trick is, in theory, black holes can have an enormous range of size, from those billions of times heavier to the Sun to minuscule far lighter than a paperclip. And those tiny black holes, aka primordial black holes, might be the ones zipping through your arm or leg right at this moment. Now, unfortunately, primordial black holes are so small that we have found no direct evidence of them. But a group of physicists have proposed a creative new approach, looking for their traces in everyday objects. Because although the primordial black holes are incredibly small, they are still large enough to see under a microscope. Now, the chances of finding their traces are still exceedingly small, but on the other hand, it wouldn't take many resources to search for them. Now, what makes primordial black holes so special? They could have formed shortly after the Big Bang, in the extreme heat and density of the early universe. Even cooler, they could be a key part of dark matter, the mysterious substance making up 85% of all the matter in the universe. Unlike black holes that form from collapsing stars or gas clouds, primordial black holes are likely to have originated from extremely dense pockets of subatomic particles, extremely small pieces of matter smaller than atoms, like protons, neutrons, or electrons, in the universe's first moments. These tiny black holes could be as heavy as mountains, but no larger than a hydrogen atom. This combination of high mass and small size makes them incredibly hard to detect. Luckily, to help narrow the search, the researchers made some calculations to predict what signs primordial black holes might leave behind. And one intriguing possibility is that planets or asteroids might capture these black holes, which could then hollow out the insides of these objects. And then, if a planet or asteroid has a liquid core, a captured black hole might absorb the core material, which is denser than the outer layers. After consuming the core, the black hole might escape after a collision or impact shakes it loose. The result could be a hollowed-out planetary shell. Now, if the object is small, about 1/10 the size of Earth, it might remain intact long enough for astronomers to spot it. But larger, hollowed-out planets would collapse under their own weight. This offers another way to search for primordial black holes. If a small planet or moon has a much lower density than expected, it could be a sign that it's hollow and carved out by a black hole. Now, we might not have to search space for clues. Researchers have also figured out what would happen if a primordial black hole were to pass through an object here on Earth. For example, a black hole weighing about a ton could carve a tunnel through an object, leaving an opening about 700 times thinner than a human hair. The coolest thing, though? If something moves faster than the speed of sound through a material, the material's molecules don't have time to react, and the material doesn't rip. It's like the difference between throwing a rock at a window, which shatters it, and shooting a bullet through it, which just leaves a clean hole. Scientists could examine billion-year-old rocks and even structures a few hundred years old for signs of these microscopic pathways. Of course, there's a catch. The odds of finding such a tunnel are very low. According to the researchers' calculations, there's only a 1/10,000th of a chance that a primordial black hole would pass through any specific billion-year-old rock. Even so, the simplicity of the test makes it worth trying. Now, let's talk about the risk to you or your dog if you're ever hit by a primordial black hole. First, let's be clear. The chances of this happening during your lifetime or your dog's are astronomically small. But if it did happen, there's no need to panic. Unlike planets or ancient rocks, your body and your dog's body have only a small amount of tension. It seems hard to believe that a primordial black hole could pass through you without you noticing. But here's a comparison. While you're watching this video, hundreds of trillions of neutrinos have passed through your body at the speed of light, and you didn't feel a thing now, did you? These particles also have another name, ghost particles, and that's for a reason. Maybe someday we'll call primordial black holes ghost black holes. Even though now all of this might sound like pure speculation, studies like these are important. Many ideas that once seemed far-fetched are now accepted parts of science. Creative thinking is necessary to solve some of the biggest mysteries in physics, like the true nature of dark matter, for example. The smartest people in the world have been trying to solve such problems for 80 years without success. So we don't just need minor changes to existing ideas. We need a completely new way of thinking. Now, back on the topic of black holes, astronomers have found a lightweight black hole that's puzzling scientists. The thing is, there's a noticeable lack of black holes between about 2 and 5 times the Sun's mass. Scientists don't know if these smaller black holes are just difficult to detect or if they're genuinely rare. Well, the new discovery might help solve the mystery. This black hole sits right in the middle of that size gap, with a mass of about 3.5 times that of the Sun. Researchers spotted it thanks to its companion, a large red giant star about 5,800 light-years away from Earth. The star, while only 2.5 times as heavy as the Sun, is about 13 times larger and shines 100 times brighter. Astronauts made the discovery using data from the European Space Agency's Gaia spacecraft, which maps the movements of over 1 billion stars in the galaxy. Gaia is really good at tracking stars' 2D motion, which is side to side and up and down. But scientists needed ground-based telescopes to measure how the red giant was moving toward or away from Earth. And their observations revealed something surprising. 2 objects were moving in a wide, nearly circular orbit around each other. And that orbit raised questions. The black hole must have formed because of a supernova, an insanely bright explosion of a star. The star would have lost a lot of its mass very quickly. Such a dramatic weight loss should have disrupted the orbit. It's a basic rule in orbital mechanics. If a binary system loses half its mass, the 2 objects should fly apart. And even if the mass loss wasn't quite that extreme in this case, it should have resulted in a stretched-out oval-shaped orbit, not the almost circular one we can observe. Another challenge to the theory is how supernova explosions behave. They aren't always perfectly even. If the explosion was lopsided, the leftover black hole could have been thrown off course, which would have separated it from its companion star. This might explain why we spot so many small black holes. Most could be wandering the galaxy alone, invisible and unnoticed. That's why the discovery of this binary system is so intriguing. There's also another possible explanation. The black hole and the red giant might have originally been a triple star system, with 2 massive stars at its center and the red giant orbiting further out. And the black hole we see now might have formed when the 2 central stars merged. It's also possible that the unseen object in the system contains 2 smaller compact objects instead of 1. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.